Pensacola, Florida is one of the oldest cities in the United States, and it's a jewel among the cities of the Panhandle. It's a city which has existed under 5 governments: the Spanish, French, and British crowns, of course the United States, and that one unfortunate stint in the Confederacy. One of the most interesting periods of Florida's history is the period of Spanish colonization, which is generally agreed to have begun in the year 1513, when explorer Juan Ponce de Leon claimed Florida for Spain on his first voyage here. But the reason I've made a last-minute, unplanned trip over here is because of a piece of replicated history that I heard about, which is moored at the Palafox Pier. It's considered to be an exact replica, or at least as exact as can be expected, of one of the 3 most famous ships to cross the pond from Europe, Christopher Columbus's Niña. Columbus was an Italian-born navigator and explorer who famously sucked at geography. He believed he could sail west from Europe and hit land in Eastern Asia, and his ambitions to be the first to do so led him to solicit funding from a couple of royal courts. The King of Portugal turned him down at least twice, so he turned to the co-monarchs of recently united Spain, Ferdinand II and Isabella I. The 2 Catholic monarchs agreed to fund his voyage, and so in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. The 3 ships in his expedition were the carrack Santa Maria and 2 smaller caravels, the Pinta and the Niña. The Niña was the only ship of the 3 to make the entire voyage to the New World and back, it being the one that brought Columbus and the remainder of his crew back safely to Spain. The Niña was known to be his favorite of the 3 as well. Now, the Spanish have some confusing naming customs, and in keeping with that, it was common to give a ship the name of a female saint and then a feminized nickname after its owner. The Niña's real name was Santa Clara, and Niña was its more famous nickname. She eventually made 2 more trips to the New World and was last heard of in the year 1501 on a trade voyage to the Venezuelan coast. In all, the original Niña logged somewhere around 25,000 nautical miles under Columbus's command. Now, because of social distancing, the line wait was longer than usual, but that was okay with me because while waiting at certain points on the pier, I saw a lot of life teeming in the waters around us. Plus, there were a couple of sassy meemaws in line behind me, and they were cutting up the whole time. Now, this replica of the Niña was built in Valencia, Brazil in the early 90s and sails to many ports and up and down many rivers all throughout the year as a floating museum.
Columbus and many other explorers during the age of exploration. Okay, Columbus spent 8 years of his life logging over 25,000 miles on board this ship. He made 2.5 successful voyages as well.
The crew member also told us that this anchor right here is over 300 years old, and I thought that was a really neat fact.
Sunglasses on my face.
Crew quarters below deck are off limits to visitors, which was fine by me because there's only about 4 feet of headroom down there. Matter of fact, the size of the ship was the thing that struck me the most. I can't imagine making a 2-month transatlantic trip 500 years ago, crammed on here with other crew members and supplies on a ship this size.
Short, we don't have a lot of headspace back here. That is because the average Spaniard was about 5'2" for a man. Right in the front of there, moves it to the left to make the ship go right, moves it to the right to make the ship go left. That might confuse a person if they're not used to it. But you do have a compass right there on the business. It's called dead reckoning. It means deduced reckoning. And the way that works, if you know where you came from and you know what direction you were going from that point, then you know how fast you were going from that point, then you can get the distance from that point.
He also talked about some of the creative ways that Columbus's crew kept track of their navigation, considering that most of the crew couldn't read or write. Though tour time was shorter than usual, I really enjoyed getting to climb aboard and see how it would have been. In 1559, nearly 70 years after the Niña first made the voyage to the New World, Tristan de Luna y Arellano landed at this place and established an outpost, but the settlement was nearly destroyed by a hurricane a short time later, and after a couple years of struggling to recover, the settlement was abandoned by the Spanish and the region was briefly claimed by the French. The Spanish eventually came back, though, and a second attempt at settlement here was made, with the city eventually becoming a key port within the colony of Spanish West Florida. The city was even visited by the King and Queen of Spain back in 2009. I really enjoyed the chance to come to this great old city and visit the replica of the Niña. The ship will only be here until September 20th, but you can keep up with her port schedule by checking online or on social media. Now, Columbus never accepted that the lands he claimed for Spain were a part of a newly unheard of continent, and he always insisted, right up until he died, that he had landed, in fact, in Asia. It's rather ironic that the man so instrumental in reshaping the world's understanding of its own geography understood so little about it his own self.